Hey, it's Chuck.
And I don't think he's going to throw the ball as much as he thinks he's going to throw the ball now that Chip Kelly's on board. And I'm happy about that. More quarterback.
The truth is, Ryan Day has made a change philosophically, but it's none of those.
You all know who wins. LSU is the drunkest fan base in the country.
Hey, welcome into Chuck on Bucks. Appreciate you so much for joining me for a huge announcement coming today here in about 15 minutes from one Luke Wafle. We're going to find out how the Buckeyes do there, but let's start the show with the commitment of Sincere Johnson, a stud linebacker out of Glenville that the Bucks have been on for a while. A dude who's not really getting the proper excitement I don't feel is due, and I may have contributed to that attitude, unfortunately. I was going to go live for that announcement. I just didn't have time to go live for two. And to be honest, we had a big storm come through here. Like a tornado was just down the street, and my power was off for quite a bit. It's been quite a week or quite a few days. But Sincere Johnson going to be a stalwart in that room, an NFL dude, and I cannot wait to see him working with James Laurinaitis, as he's up to 235, rock solid. He's explosive. He's just a beast. He wants to be just like Arvell, a little bit shorter, but a total stud. So very happy about that. He is a top 5 linebacker in On3's rankings. But the big one here is Luke Wafle, and hopefully we'll see what happens here. It's been, of course, a whirlwind. Like, I never expected this would be that guy. You know what I mean? When we started off this recruitment, this cycle, like, who's going to be the dude that it comes down to crunch time and it's back and forth bidding wars? Like, I'd have thought of a few names, right? Braylon Womack, maybe Tyler Atkinson, Felix Ojo. Wouldn't have thought Luke Wafle, the 6'5", 6'5.5", 245-pound defensive end out of New Jersey, the highest rated player in New Jersey, a state that Ohio State landed 5 players out of in the class of 2025. Really been doing great in New Jersey. And he is the number 14th ranked overall player in On3's rankings. That's a 5-star. They haven't given him that 5-star yet, but they wait to release that second round of 5 stars till later on in the year. But their top 32 is all 5-star. So he is a 5-star. His dad was a defensive lineman at Duke. His older brother started his career off at Michigan, transferred to Penn State, and Luke is the best one of them. Looks like he's grown up like the Gronkowski brothers, just training at a young age. The kid is just totally jacked, man. Doesn't give many interviews, doesn't seem to seek the limelight. He's just a kind of a quiet guy, all about football. And the Buckeyes clearly very, very high on him, because if they weren't, it wouldn't be going down like it is. And we are seeing this, kind of back and forth. Obviously, most of you guys who are going to be in here watching this have followed this saga as it's gone. This obviously was a guy who was leaning Penn State, Ohio State, but his top 5 was Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, USC, and Florida. And he went out last weekend for his official visit to USC. So he goes out to USC, and USC smartly paired that official visit for him with a bunch of dudes who were already committed. And they pulled the hard sell on him, offered him a whole lot of money. Comes out of that visit, and all of a sudden, you got Steve Wiltfong and other people even in the Ohio State media sphere saying, yeah, it's USC now. And it was just like that. It was over. Then Ohio State gets back a hold of him, works some more magic, and we saw Ohio State do something they don't usually do. They got flexible with their initial offer. They don't usually get in this back and forth. And they definitely got in with this back and forth for Luke Wafle, which tells us what they think about him. They think he is the perfect prospect, because you can count on, honestly, on both hands, the number of times we've seen Ohio State get involved in this kind of thing over the last 4 years. They only do it when they believe 100% in a guy. So it's obviously a very important guy that they totally believe in, which means it's all the more big, right? Well, Ohio State seemingly took the lead, because yesterday it was all smiles. Everybody was happy. It was looking like Buckeyes. And then I woke up this morning to see that USC, actually, there were some numbers reported. 2 years, 2.6 to 2.9 million, I believe was the numbers. And it was looking like it was heading back USC's direction. And that's where we sit right now. And we're going to find out if all those reports are right in about 10 minutes. And I have got that feed. He's going to be doing it on On3's Recruits channel. It's loaded up, and when he gets on the stage, I'll pull it up, hoping that that my system here holds up for me, because it's been a really bad internet day for me here due to the storms and due to, obviously, I always have issues with that. But we'll see. Hopefully it works out. But I will be bringing you guys in. Michael P.S. Hayes says Wafle doesn't have the bend as a boza. Does Wafle realize he's going to get killed in Texas? It's true. He does not have that type of bend. He's not as quick off the line as Nick. He is as powerful as Joey. There's a lot of similarities there. He is, I mean, if you look at Jack Sawyer coming out of high school, Wafle is ahead of where Jack was. And Jack was obviously a top 10 player who came in, and I think we all thought was probably going to be similar to the Bozas, certainly a first or second round draft pick by the time he left, but certainly a great career. MS says 2 million is crazy. Well, when you look at his teammate, the tight end in their class, Mark Bowman, his is 6 to 8 million over 3. So he's getting a little more than that, but they're really handing out some wild deals. But no doubt the taxes and the cost of living, you got to factor anytime you're talking about living out in California versus living in Ohio. Obviously a much less cost of living, etc. But this is just such a stupid conversation. Like, I can't even believe we're having this conversation about dudes that are 17 years old heading into college, but here we are. I had assumed that we would see this start to change here heading into the back end of this cycle with these massive deals based on all the new stuff that's been coming out with the new house settlement. Apparently nobody is really following that yet, but Ohio State. And it's very, it's almost like a disadvantage that Ross Bjork has been so involved, or maybe it is an advantage, right? Ross Bjork has been so involved with the planning and the orchestrating of this house settlement. He's been right up there with the guys writing the rules on the committee, coming up with the punishments and all that. So it could be a situation where either he knows what's coming for these guys who are breaking these rules, or he knows that, or him being so closely associated with it, he's got an overinflated view of whether or not this is going to hold up. There's been some thought that maybe USC is just going to keep going rogue, doing exactly what they're doing, and wait to take it to court. And should they win, well, they really win in that case, right? All this stuff yet to be seen. We just got to wait for it. But in the meantime, the Buckeyes need to keep bringing in elite players and elite talent, which they do. Obviously, this cycle, we really wanted that to be on the defensive line, and there still are a lot of ways to get that, whether they end up getting Luke Wafle today or not. You've got Carter Meadows, who is another 5-star defensive end who came in for his visit last week. Carter Meadows had a great visit. He's down to his final 4 of South Carolina, Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. And his last official visit will be at Michigan this upcoming weekend. So he'll go to Michigan. After that, we'll probably see a decision from him within the next couple of weeks. And everything went really good for Carter Meadows on his visit. Obviously, you've got Landon Barnes coming in, a stud defensive end out of Duncanville. He's coming in this weekend. There hasn't been a lot of movement with Landon Barnes. However, if we see Luke Wafle choose USC here, we might see the Buckeyes really ramp that up, which could be, could make a change in the Landon Barnes recruitment. And Landon Barnes, he's top 200-ish guy, really talented though, really got a lot of raw material to work with there with him. Jake Krull still floating out there. I posted a picture on Twitter today. If you didn't see it, like Jake Krull is not a totally different ball game than Luke Wafle. We're talking about 2 really, really different players. It's the size difference alone is just drastic. So totally different skill sets, but he's obviously a very good player, Jake Krull, with a lot of skill. I don't see a lot of movement on that one. Could be wrong there. Jackson Ford, who is kind of the Midwest power schools like next tier, and he had a great visit at Ohio State last week. Larry Johnson talked to him about playing outside linebacker, edge, kind of a hybrid role, which is really interesting. That's something we've never heard Larry Johnson say to anybody. But when we look at the interior, there's a lot more options in this class right now, with JJ Perez potentially flipping, PJ Dean. The talk about PJ Dean being too light is ridiculous. PJ Dean was as big as, let's say, Emmanuel Ruffin, who's another guy Ohio State's recruiting. PJ Dean was that size, and he's just Emmanuel Ruffin without the fat right now. So if Emmanuel Ruffin got as lean as PJ Dean, they would weigh the same. These are the same sized man. This is just a matter of how much fat they're carrying. I'll take the guy who has the ability to get lean very easily or gain the weight. And by the way, at 300 pounds, PJ Dean was a much better athlete than Emmanuel Ruffin. So this is just a stupid talking point. And on top of that, we've seen even hard gaining guys like a Bodpin Miller come into Ohio State, and they put 20 pounds on that. Bodpin Miller was a string bean. They put 20 pounds of muscle on him in 3 months. Like, this is a ridiculous point here. You got Deuce Gerald's coming in this weekend. Deuce Gerald's is a top 100 player. He is short for a defensive end or defensive tackle, probably going to tip, I don't know, about 6'1", maybe a little less, 6'1.5". And we'll find out. But at any rate, the dude's a baller. He's a straight up baller. The type of guy that, you know, Georgia has those cutoffs where they want guys within a certain range at every position. And he's below that, but he's such a good player. They were even trying to get in on him. They passed on Caden McDonald in a similar situation because Caden McDonald wasn't tall enough for them, despite being the Gwinnett County Player of the Year. But out of all these guys, Damari Simeon coming in, Cam Brickle came in already. Cam Brickle, a 3-star defensive tackle with some twitch, like him a lot, 6'2", 300. Damari Simeon out of New Jersey, he's the other super stud defensive lineman out of New Jersey. He'll be in this weekend with Landon Barnes and Deuce Gerald. So some potential on the inside, but all this starts with Wafle, man. If you can get Wafle, you're off to a great start at pulling an elite haul. And I really like Kari Wilder. He's not on the same level here as Wafle. So we talk about these recruitments. We look back at, and people could say, hey, look, Ohio State's done it their way, and they just won a national championship. The national championship was won on the backs of a historic 2021 class that included 7 5-stars. The 2 top-rated guys were defensive ends. You need talent at defensive end. You got to have it, and that's why you see bidding wars like this go on for elite dudes like Wafle. And not only that, but he fits in with everything Ohio State loves out of a kid. So this one is massive. It really is. I can't wait to see. I'm looking at the chat here. I feel like you guys are a little more pessimistic about this than I am. I'm not quite there yet. I'm just waiting. Terrence says, does OSU have any chance on Ford? Ford is down to the 3 Midwest schools of Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. I guess Penn State's not really in the Midwest, is it? At any rate, you know what I'm saying. And absolutely. And I think if they told him today, we want you in right now, that he would jump in. It's really good with him. This is a good question. Colton Weaver asked, would you rather have Wafle or Meadows? My brother and I were just discussing this morning for quite a while. I think I'd rather have Meadows, but it's really tough to say because we don't know exactly how much this defense is going to change under Matt Patricia. I think it's going to change a little bit more than most people. And in that case, I would take Meadows. If it was Jim Knowles' defense, Wafle all day. Bugsy's dad says, remember when USC got all those big all-time defensive recruits last year and then later decommitted? We're way past that, brother. We're way past that. They got some studs early on, some dudes out of Georgia that it was very likely they would flip. And we did see one of those in Xavier Griffin, but this is a much different strategy than they employed last year. They are paying guys double and triple in some cases what they're getting everyone else, saying, we don't care. We're investing whatever it takes to make this happen. We're going to be the number 1 class, and we're going to get 35 guys in the class, maybe even 40. They are on a mission to totally retool the roster based on this class right here. And we will see a couple guys here and there, but there is no doubt this is going to be an excellent class at USC. Y'all are national champs. Y'all be just fine. Absolutely. Just fine is not the standard at Ohio State. Not the standard. Red KJ is coming this weekend, so Wafle over Bags. Sad, but we can't overpay to hurt the culture. That's absolutely true. You're in a sticky spot. You're in a real sticky spot. when you overpay or pay a guy more coming in than you're paying guys on the roster. So it's really only reserved for guys you believe 100% that are going to come in and you can show the room exactly why you did that. And Jeremiah Smith would be an example of that, right? Like, okay, he comes in making more than some guys in the room last year. If they were mad about it at first, they quickly saw, okay, I get it. I get it. Right? You could say the same about Devin Sanchez. Like, okay, I get it. I understand. But it's difficult. It's a sticky situation. And there are some positions where you really have a difficult time making that sale. Like running back, for instance, you look at Sabian Hyder's deal coming out to be about $600,000 to $800,000 as a freshman running back. And we're looking at a guy like Bo Jackson in the spring game. It looks like, man, this dude's on the up and up. Bo Jackson's making nowhere near that. Bo Jackson wasn't the number one rated back. And yeah, that calls for a little more money, but I mean, not 4 times the amount of money. Then you got James Peoples about to start. He's not making that. And he's already put in a year of hard work for you, embrace the culture, et cetera. It just puts you in a real bind. And it can lead to that. Let me know.
Right now, definitely weekly. So we got a big one here today. Not often do I get up here where we really do not know where this prospect is going to end up. There's been rumors swirling. We're going to find out who the winner is today. But before we get going, guys, do me a favor real quick and hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. I want you to get these notifications every time we go live for a commitment. So make sure you're subscribed. All right. Who are we here for today? It's Luke Wafle, an elite pass rusher from New Jersey. He's ranked as the 10th best edge rusher in the country and the number 1 player in the state of New Jersey. Wafle plays for the Hun School in Middletown, New Jersey. He checks in at 6'5.5", 255 pounds, holding dozens of offers, but he's narrowed that list to a top 5, and today we're going to find out who the winner is. You can see the finalists there. We got Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Florida, and USC. So let me know in the chat, where do you guys think Luke Wafle is going to go? Now, before we talk to Luke, let's put on the film. Right here, you can see he's an All-American when it comes to the measurables at the edge position.
All right, we don't need to watch that part. We can keep hopping on with your comments until Luke takes the stage. Travis Shuttlesworth thinks, I think we see a lot of 3-3-5 out of our defense simply because it's easier to recruit a bunch of elite linebackers than elite D linemen. That's a really good point. And we certainly have an elite linebacker recruiting coach, definitely a guy that dudes want to play for. But I also agree with you, and I think that what we're seeing with what was told to Jackson Ford is a real tip-off. All right, we got the camera on Wafle now. I'm going to pull it back up here.
Feeling good. Feeling ready.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy 24 last hours, huh?
It has been. I won't lie. It's been stressful, but it's been a blessing. So, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're thankful that you're here with us on the On3 Recruits channel. We see your top teams. What was it about these schools that made your final list?
Just like the constant factor between them all is just a lot of genuine people, and I can see myself at all those schools, and I know they'll all be great, and they're all trending up. So you can't go wrong in this choice.
No, you can't. And you got a lot of great choices, but we're going to find out a winner here in a second. So the moment's here. The floor is yours. Say your thank yous, and in the end, let us know where you're committing to college.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, there's nothing possible. I'd like to thank my family, especially my parents. It's been a crazy journey. It's been a long journey, hard fought, but the work's starting to pay off. But obviously the journey's not done. Definitely thank my brothers, especially my older brother, for paving the way, younger brother on the way. And then I'd like to thank, there's a lot of coaches that had a huge impact on me. My dad, obviously, being my number one coach. But starting with Middletown South, I just thank them a lot. I appreciate it. They started off my high school journey. Coach Antonucci, Coach Jeff Martin, Coach Tomo, then going to the Hun School. That transition was not easy, and it was made easy with Coach Smith. So that was definitely huge parts of my life, those coaches right there. And now I'd just like to thank my friends all back here for showing support. And Middletown, I'm so grateful for Middletown. And yeah, I think we're ready. With that being said, I would like to announce for the next 3 to 4 years, I'm committing to the University of Southern California.
Well, there we have it. It is official. Luke Wafle commits to USC over the defending national champions, where he can walk in and contribute as a freshman. They do have good defensive line coaches. There's no doubt about that. So, all right, look. The USC folks popping in here, like, we're not going to. They're not invited. This is a Buckeye party that has taken a bad turn. You can go fight on somewhere else. I mean, it's just like, there's such dweebs, dude. You haven't been anything in so long. Like, you've been nothing in so long, and now you're getting a recruiting class, and you're celebrating like you won a national championship. We actually got a national championship to celebrate. I mean, it's just ridiculous, dude. Congratulations on your recruiting success that's going on right now. Put the trophy, put it in the trophy case. Hey, that's true, Ray. He didn't acknowledge his mom. Luke didn't acknowledge his mom. He acknowledged dad. He acknowledged his dorky buddies in the back. He didn't acknowledge his mother. Cody says, if he got the money that's rumored, I can't blame him. No, you can't. I mean, there's just like, obviously Ohio State was never going to match it. Ohio State doesn't need to match it. USC is not on the same tier as Ohio State, but it's how much is that difference? How much less are you willing to take to go to a place like Ohio State, where you don't go 8-5? You know what I mean? Yeah, I hope nobody's calling him any bad names, dude. Like, honestly, these are 17-year-old dudes. In a lot of cases, guys, these parents this is on the parents for so many of these dudes. Like, they are telling these kids and advising these kids, like, okay, how much money is too much, where we can't say no as a family, you know? So it's difficult. And that's why it's like, when I hear people kind of throw out there all the time, well, if he didn't want to be a Buckeye, we don't want him. And that was very true in the old system, when it was about who you want to be and where you want to go to school and things like that. Now, when you add this into the equation, and you've got parents and agents and pressure to go where the most money is, when it's a sizable gap, it kind of becomes different. There are a lot of kids, I'm sure, that would have preferred to go to Ohio State or somewhere else, but money and pressure from parents and agents, they ended up choosing another place that they liked as well, just maybe not as much. So, and honestly, if you put yourself in a parent's position, and in your, maybe things are rough, who knows? It's tough to say. Cookie Monster says his dad didn't look thrilled. None of them really did they? None of them did. Michael G, not a believer that Carter Meadows is coming here. Not a believer. I'll tell you what, I heard something last night that got me thinking the Bucks are way more into this than I had originally thought yesterday morning. I'll tell you that much. Definitely, Russ. Cannot discount that this is still a boom Thursday. We still did get a linebacker who is a top 5 linebacker in the country today. So it just appears I went wrong. I went live at the wrong time. I should have done the live earlier, and it would have been a much more fun live. Woody says, not trying to down the guy, but the last dude to let his dad do all the talking was McCord. Cody says, I'm not saying can't blame him for taking the money. The difference, not sure, but people calling a teenager names is just terrible. Let the kid go, wish him good luck, and move on. Go Bucks. Absolutely. No need to ever take a shot at a kid, man. I was an idiot when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I don't think I was 23 until I stopped being a total moron. Yes, Jimmy. Carter Meadows is very much in the picture now. Very much. Pariah Doc says Caleb Williams couldn't even get them over the top. USC is crap. Well, they're trying to be different on defense, and I think Wafle is now their either 4th or 5th edge rusher they've got in this class. They've got like 5 cornerbacks in this class, and we will see what that talent infusion does for them. They obviously going to need to have excellent coaching, and they've got really good coaches. Hey, Robert, thanks so much, buddy. Been living at work, second shift, counting on me to send you off with great news. I apologize, my man. And thank you so much for gifting 5 Juck on Bucks memberships. The weirdest thing, guys, you gift these memberships, doesn't tell you where they go. You can't assign them to anybody. I think they go to like random people. And hopefully we can hook them in. We can get them in here. Paul Moss, thanks so much, bud. Paul says, clearly the path to early playing time plus money, giving USC a little momentum. Gonna blame you, Juck. Pronounce his name correctly. Go. I refuse. I don't care if he came here and I was interviewing the kid. It's Wafle. It's got to be Wafle for a very personal reason. And I wish I could tell you, but I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to tell you. Yankee Wolverine with the $5 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate you, Yankee Wolverine. Very nice of you. Small town Texas scratcher. How does USC have any money left after 27 commits? They have got it going, man. They have got it absolutely going with their donations and what's going on with. They had it last year when I was looking into them, 3 separate collectives, and I believe they consolidated it all into one. And when they did, they started figuring out a way to. There was like some tension, kind of like what we had at Ohio State with 1870 and the foundation. When 1870 started, there was some real tension. It was a real rivalry, and because of it, nobody in like the media or in the athletic department really wanted to step in and say like, yeah, look, go give money, because they didn't want to say one or the other. So they would just say generic things, and they wouldn't push their initiatives because they didn't want to be seen as favoring one over the other. It's a bad system. When you get one together, it's much easier to raise money because you lose out on that garbage and everybody can pull in the same direction. And they're doing that at USC. Jimmy says, I just want one of these big time linemen. Just one, please, Lord. I know what you mean. Douglas says, as soon as Wafle said for the next 3 to 4 years, I knew he wasn't coming to OSU. I got to admit, man, been a pet peeve of mine for a long time, man. Just say, I don't know, man. It just sounds so haughty. Like I'm only going to be there 3 years because I'm going to the NFL. Like, okay, we get it, dude. Kool-Aid says, you are sad to put USC down. Sore loser. Your recruiting class for the last couple of years was the most expensive roster. Now that USC upgraded their NIL, you guys are crying. No, I'm not sad to put USC down. USC fans are coming in here talking crap. That's why I'm saying that. If you're going to come in here and speak like you, which is, normal and nice, okay, fine. We can have a conversation. You're going to come in and talk crap, you're going to get it back. That's what it is. Bucks by 50. I've been a member of this show and M2S for years and never gifted a membership. Never get gifted a membership. That's messed up, man. Russ thinks we land Aaron Thomas. This is a big one, man. This is a big one. Aaron Thomas heads to Texas A&M this weekend. And Texas A&M and Ohio State have been his top two for the longest. They will remain the top two. And when he gets out of that, he's going to make his decision. But Aaron is a guy that I think is a really great project. Got the size. He's nasty. He's only played on the offensive line for 1 year. Former defensive lineman, switches over, getting it down really fast. I think it's a prospect with a ton of hope there that he could turn into a starting left tackle. So absolutely. And in addition to that, we've got a lot of the guys that we were in on or were potential Buckeyes on the offensive line have really been falling off the board quickly lately. We saw Kenny Agboko go to Georgia. Chancellor didn't commit, but he dropped his Final Four and Ohio State was out of it. We got JB Shabazz coming in this weekend, as well as Duron Parks. Neither of them really get me juiced up, but Aaron Thomas is on that level of developmental guy with them, and he's the one that I'm really hoping for. Side note, I've talked to him plenty throughout this cycle, and this dude loves Ohio State. Not only that, but Ryan Day gave him a Buckeye from his office to give to his grandmother, which was a very touching gesture to the family, as his grandmother is a big time Buckeye fan. Richie says Chuck's favorite player in the class, JB Shabazz. Definitely my favorite. Absolutely. We will end it on this one, guys. Good luck to Wafle. Bucks will roll on. No worries. And, it's a blow, but it is what it is. And we will keep rolling on. And there are the pieces out there to still come out with a pretty elite looking defensive line. But that list has shrunk again. And that's where we're at. But it's still, it's a big day. It's a boom day. We got Sincere Johnson, the linebackers, probably set now. Tyler Atkinson canceled his visit. I don't think there's Xavier Griffin dreams here. And that's what it is. You get CJ Sana, Sincere Johnson, 2 Ohio studs. I'm happy with it. When we look at that room, youth movement, it's going to look really different next year because I think Arvell Reese is going to go bananas this year, going to be gone to the NFL, which leaves you Peyton Pierce, Garrett Stover, Riley Pettijohn, TJ Alford, Eli Lee, and then you bring in Sincere Johnson and CJ Sana. I love it. That is a collection of dudes right there. So really happy about that. But appreciate you guys for joining me. I don't think we've had this big of a show audience numbers wise since, ironically, the David Sanders Jr. announcement, which was the record show in here on a Juck on Bucks Live, as we all, kind of knew going into that one that it was going to be Tennessee. I feel like this one felt like a little more of a toss-up than that, but it certainly sounded like it was going to be USC, and it was. So we'll end it with one more comment. As Christian says, I think we get Carter Meadows now. I like it. That's positivity. Everybody have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me. Chuck and Bucks out.